All right. So first of all, thank you to Carlos for bringing us all together for this project. And it's great to join the session today, even though it's only 6 a.m. here in Seattle. Border crossing and placemaking have been the focus of my work for quite some time, and I thought it would be relevant to the focus of our session today. 10 years ago, we published a book titled Transcultural Cities, Border Crossing and Placemaking, based on the work produced for a symposium of the same title in 2011. The project recognizes the phenomenon that we're talking about today, the growing diversity of our urban environment as results of global migration. It further examines how placemaking can be a vehicle for engendering cross-cultural understanding in the context of migration and growing diversity. It's important for me to first clarify that we refer to placemaking simply as how people transform the built environments, not necessarily lighter, cheaper, and quicker as placemaking is commonly known today. And these are the locations of some of the cases that we have examined, from North America to Europe to different parts of Asia. There are 21 chapters altogether in this book. Some of the takeaways from the book included the importance of everyday sites of interaction, how seemingly mundane locations such as shops, streets, school, libraries, parks, community gardens, and even restaurants can serve as sites of cross-cultural interaction, places that Asherman described as the sites of banal, transgression, and micro-publics of everyday social contact and encounter. These encounters include not only conviviality, but also conflict that necessitates negotiation, dialogue, and understanding, as in the case of a partnership program run by the University of Utah in a refugee community in Salt Lake City, where there have been constant tensions and misunderstanding, which also offers opportunity for learning and communication. Another takeaway from the book suggests the importance of having a safe space or safer space in which cultural barriers can be temporarily suspended, enabling boundaries to become more porous between different cultural groups and practices, as in the case of a community garden in Oakland, California, where gardening provided opportunities for everyday contact between the gardeners. That included conversation over meals and the sharing of food among residents and gardeners as well. And not just space, but also time, as in the case of the Chinese New Year in Yangon, where the identity of the Chinese community, which is often suppressed, can be celebrated during the event, and different cultural groups can feel free to mix. We learned that many of these intercultural exchanges do not just happen on their own. These processes require what we call transcultural agents, so people who can help communicate and negotiate between different knowledge and value systems, engage in constant cycles of cross-cultural translation, and even the efforts in the co-adaptation of culture and space. Which was in the case of the Little Shanghai in Asheville, a suburb of Sydney, where bicultural actors play an important role in navigating thorny issues between different cultural groups. In Seattle's Chinatown International District, bicultural workshop facilitator also play an important role in overcoming cultural barriers in the participatory design process. Without them, we would not have a more nuanced understanding of the diverse perspective of our community residents. Seattle's Chinatown International District has been an important setting in which we have experimented with ways to facilitate this cross-cultural making of place since 2001, so more than 20 years ago. The neighborhood continued to serve as an immigrant receiving area to this day. So for the past 20 plus years, we have used design studios and design projects to build bridges and capacity for engagement in this multicultural community. At the pace of possibly one project a year, sometimes two, we have experimented with different ways of engaging the residents and community stakeholders in the design process to build bridges in the community between the professionals and the locals and between the different cultural groups. Using techniques such as photo voice, a way of visualizing and communicating different perceptions and perspectives in the community. And so basically we gave our stakeholders at the time disposable cameras for them to take pictures of what they like and dislike in the community, and then the photograph become a vehicle for them to tell stories. Instead of recruiting residents to our meeting, we have tried inviting ourselves to their everyday activities so that residents can be engaged where they are. In this case, a cafeteria, instead of coming to and often alienating public meetings. Now, you're looking at, in this cafeteria, a free meals program for our older adults in the neighborhood, and we have used that as an opportunity to solicit their input on the design of a new park. In this way, the residents get to participate in their own kind of conversation, surrounded by their peers. So if they have questions, if they cannot quite form an opinion, they have their friends in nearby to have conversation with, and so that become a way of dealing with kind of barriers in the participatory design process. We have also developed culturally relevant design games that allow community stakeholders to have hands-on experiences in design and communicate their perspective. This particular one is called Design Buffet. So basically it's organized in the fashion of an actual buffet meal. So on the left, you're looking at people holding what looks like a plate, but it actually also functions as a side model. And so, as like in the buffet, they go through the buffet line, picking up pieces from the tray that represent different design elements and activities inside a park. And on the right, they come back to the table to put together their design. So there's a design game that doesn't require much explanation because people know this already as part of their everyday routine. Instead of formal meetings, we set up community open house events so that residents and stakeholders could speak directly to the designers, sometimes with the help of interpreters. It's a format that allows younger audience to participate equally as well. So over the past 2 decades, we have managed to get a few projects built. This is the Maynard Avenue Green Street completed in 2010. Is both a rain garden as well as a interpretive device that tells the stories and history of the Japanese American community in our neighborhood. A hill climb whose design came out of a workshop in which our Vietnamese residents, for instance, told us about how the plant's palette could be an important cultural signifier. The expansion of Hinckley Park, a project that involved a delicate negotiation of differences and commonality in the community among the different ethnic stakeholders. A project that has garnered quite a few accolades and was featured in the Landscape Architecture magazine in 2018. So to conclude my short presentation, these projects and the processes demonstrate the power of landscape architecture in creating places of intercultural learning and cohabitation. At the same time, the process also suggests a need for an expanded repertoire of skills, knowledge, and sensibility needed to address the challenges of border crossing and placemaking. These include intercultural competency, knowledge of cross-cultural participatory design, and the ability to partners and collaborate with allies, and the capacity to navigate differences and commonality. So with that, I look forward to the discussion in a moment as well as your questions. Thank you.